I just had my second soul-crushing bout with cancer, which is why I talk so good, and also why sometimes I have such a sunny disposition. Stuff like that has a way of making you want to go back and take another look at things. I've thought about my relationships, and some of my questionable choices, and the monumental amount of horror movies I've consumed over the years. So much horror. Good horror, bad horror, good bad horror. Why did I like the things I did? Why did I hate the things I did? In order to explore this further, I decided to revisit some of my favorite horror franchises one laborious video at a time. And I decided to start with the very first slasher series I ever fell in love with. I didn't start watching a lot of horror until I was in high school. Praise be unto Wes Craven. But when I was a kid, I was super into Chucky. I'd drawn an entire line of Chucky comics before I'd ever even seen the movies. Spoilers, at one point Chucky is several hundred feet tall. I've always been fascinated by the character, and I'm far from the only one. Chucky has remained a popular fixture of horror for decades now. He's toys and comic books and a shitty iPhone game and even tattoos. No, seriously. Google Chucky tattoos. It's insane. But it all started with Child's Play, the collective brainchild of series creator Don Mancini and director Tom Holland. Fun fact, Don Mancini originally wrote Chucky as a killer doll who happened to be the manifestation of Andy Barclay's subconscious rage against his mother and the world. It wasn't until Tom Holland and David Kirshner got involved that Chucky became a good guy doll inhabited by a serial killer named Charles Lee Ray. And even then, another fun fact, the original voice of Chucky the doll was Jessica Walters, which would have meant hearing Chucky's voice every time Lucille Bluth opened her mouth.
I don't understand the question, and I won't respond to it.
As much as I love Jessica Walters,
Jesus God, I'm having a stroke!
I'm really happy she was eventually switched out for Brad Dourif, because he kills it in every single movie. Dourif turned Chucky into a ball of psychopathic rage stuffed into what is essentially a My Buddy doll. You remember My Buddy? Remember? It's not a coincidence that the good guy looks like a My Buddy doll. That's intentional. This means Chucky was probably the first slasher inadvertently forged in the fires of 100 children's focus groups. See, Don Mancini's father worked in marketing, and Mancini intended the movie to be a scathing satire of how toys are sold to children. This was in the mid-80s when toy commercials disguised as children's cartoons were a newly exploding industry. And in fact, the first time we see Andy, he's in good guy pajamas pouring good guy cereal, absolutely aghast at a commercial for a good guy doll during a good guy cartoon. He's been conditioned to want one of these things so badly he doesn't even mind that much when it murders his babysitter.
He said Aunt Maggie was a real bitch and got what she deserved.
But I'm getting ahead of myself. The movie really begins with Charles Lee Ray, the notorious Lakeshore Strangler, Chucky to his friends, being chased and shot by police in a toy store. As it happens, Charles is a big voodoo enthusiast, and he knows a spell that will allow him to put his soul into another vessel. Usually this is supposed to be another person, but Charles instead puts himself into the nearest inanimate object, a good guy My Buddy whatever doll. Let's pause for a moment to appreciate that Chucky could have conceivably inhabited Volcano Island, an Operation game, or a She-Ra Princess of Power Crystal Castle playset, which would have been flipping amazing. But instead he ended up in this doll, which makes it into the hands of widowed mother Karen Barkley, played by Catherine Hicks. She does her best to legitimize the craziest material she's ever been given. And that's really saying something. She once helped the crew of the Starship Enterprise steal a couple of humpback whales. Anyway, Karen in turn gives the doll to her son Andy, played by Alex Vincent. It can't be overstated how important Alex Vincent is to this movie. In a sea of annoying child actors, this one is legitimately talented. He projects an authentic aura of sad and lonely, and he can cry on command like nobody's business.
Please don't leave me.
I mean, good lord, did they tell him his dog died? What did they do to this kid? One thing that is immediately evident and consistent throughout the series is that Chucky can't stop gaslighting people, killing people, or sometimes both at the same time. It's downright compulsive. At every opportunity, he pulls something like this.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
And it doesn't seem to matter if it's in his best interest to be inconspicuous. He pushes this aforementioned babysitter out a window because she won't let him watch TV, regardless of how much attention it's going to draw from Chris Sarandon's obligatory cop character. This is a long way of saying this bullshit is no way for the Lakeshore Strangler to live. So in order to escape his new life as Andy's snuggle buddy, Chucky goes looking for the guy who taught him that voodoo that he do so well. It turns out Chucky must now transfer his soul into the first person he revealed his true identity to, lest he be trapped in this stumpy little doll body forever. Regarding this voodoo stuff, Don Mancini has said he never cared for it, and has lamented being stuck with, quote, that damn chant for 15 years. You know the one.
Ade Dewey Dembella. Give me the power, I beg of you!
Regardless, this Chucky wants to put his soul into a human body thing becomes the character's central motivation for 5 solid movies. So I guess it worked out? Question mark? In any event, Chucky tries to get into this boy's soul, but he fails because he didn't pay the troll toll. At this point, the movie treats us to a protracted battle with a near indestructible Chucky. He's shot, burned, shot again, shot some more, dismembered, and shot some more times, and shot. He's just shot a lot. He takes an incredible amount of punishment. The only other movie villain this hard to kill is Vigo the Carpathian.
He was poisoned, stabbed, shot, hung, stretched, disemboweled, drawn, and quartered.
After Child's Play 2, the movies back away from this aspect of the character, which is a shame, because in this movie, one of the scariest things about him is that he's f***ing relentless. He's like a Terminator. He absolutely will not stop until you are dead. I should point out that without effects artist Kevin Yeager and friends selling the hell out of Chucky as a believable threat, the movie wouldn't have worked at all past its midpoint. They used like 10 different models, a dozen puppeteers, and an actor named Ed Gale on an oversized set to portray Chucky as a living being in various stages of emotion and physical transformation. Without their sublime work, this movie could have been an unholy train wreck. On the whole, I think Child's Play is nostalgically remembered as the best one, but I respectfully disagree. I don't think it's the best, and it's definitely not my favorite, but that being said, it's still really damn solid. It fits squarely into the mold of a typical first installment of a slasher series. Like Halloween or A Nightmare on Elm Street, it's a relatively slow burn compared to its sequels and reveals the killer in a suspenseful manner over time. Despite a brief early appearance of Charles Lee Ray, we don't actually see Chucky being Chucky until like the 45-minute mark. But when we do...
I said talk to me, damn it, or else I'm gonna throw you in the fire!
You stupid bitch, you filthy slut! Did you fuck with me?
I can't imagine what it must have been like to have seen this unspoiled. I'd have lost my damn mind. It's this slow build of suspense and then terrifying release that gives really effective horror its weight. To wrap up, Child's Play is a movie very much of its time. It was born of a confluence of specific cultural and creative elements that almost couldn't have occurred at any other point in cinematic history. The 80s toy market, the burgeoning slasher subgenre, the advancement of practical effects, and the melding of minds between Don Mancini and Tom Holland. If this specific set of circumstances hadn't aligned just so, if a single one of these contributing factors hadn't been in play, Chucky as we know him would never have existed at all. But I guess you can really say that about anything. Even you. Sleep tight.